All right. So we put the new microphone on today, so Ernest couldn't complain. But let me see. I'm getting a weird noise. Let's see. That one is muted. Hmm. Hold on. Something is playing. I gotta see here how many windows I have open here. No, it's not that one. I have no idea. I have a window open somewhere. You can hear it. Yeah, no, I had it muted. But it's funny. I don't know why. Hold on. Let me see. Let me change the settings here. Configure system sound. Oh, you know what? Stream only. I updated the software. No, I actually don't have the Netflix up. I have Twitch up. I have a couple different things. Okay, that looks like that worked. Hold on. Let me see. Put the microphone back on. All right, I can't hear myself talking. Yeah, no, I every time, like, I don't know, the last like 2 weeks or whatever. No, actually, I watched an episode and a half of it, and it was just so crazy. It was like Jerry Springer wrote like a crazy book about what's his wildest fantasies. I made it through like an episode and a half, and I was like, this is just absolutely insane. No, the last couple times I've actually installed or opened it up, XSplit, I guess is what I use. It's like, oh, there's an update. Do you want to update? And I keep forgetting. Like, no, 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 no. And now today I was like, you know what? I'm gonna hit yes. Let's see how long it is. I got like 10, 15 minutes. So when I updated it, every time I do the update, I have to go back through and add like all the monitors back again. And the settings that were saved were with the headset microphone, not the good microphone. So I have the good microphone, if you guys couldn't tell. So you hear everything. Typing, this, that. The birds. The baby if she runs through the hallway. But anyway, yeah, so I had to put all those back on. And that's why I was getting like a weird, you guys couldn't hear it, but I was getting like an echo. Like I could hear myself talking inside the headphones. So I had to change it to like system sound, and that's why I couldn't hear music. So anyway, looking at the overall markets today. Oh, let me change my filters. That's fine. You're not missing a thing. Debbie says that, but I bet you Debbie has watched the whole thing. There we go. I just wanted today. All right. So for the most part, guys, as you can see, there really wasn't a ton of movement today. And I didn't expect there to be. There really wasn't. There's not really much really for the rest of the week. Later in the week, there is obviously a little bit more. But yeah, we'll see. Not really not a whole lot of news today or tomorrow. Later on the week, it kicks in. I love this one. Oil crash hurts the CAD. I mean, like, it hurt it a little bit, but only 50 pips, and that's retracing from last week. So I really wouldn't say that it hurt it that much. I mean, that's just me, but I mean, last week it was a much, much bigger movement. So yeah, I don't know that I would quite say that is, I don't know. I wouldn't quite say that is timely news, maybe. Maybe he means last week. Who knows? I love this. Oil producers need to do more in terms of production cuts. I don't know. I think he's going to have some problems with that one. He asked about stopping shipments from oil from Saudi Arabia. It's like, yeah. I mean, until he brings back demand. I mean, there's nothing you can do about that one. But telling companies to just stop producing to raise the price of oil when Americans can get it super, super cheap. Good luck. I don't think that's going to happen. Easiest way to lose votes is to raise the prices on people. So not good. But I love this. Here's another one. Canadian dollar slides. It's like, I mean, 50 pips is not, I mean, that's not even what its ATR is for the day. So it's hard to say that the Canadian dollar is sliding right now. So I don't know. It just, is what it is. I love this. We're looking to put up to 75 million in the strategic, in the SPR. Okay. That's good. Save it now. I mean, the strategic, petroleum reserve. It's okay. We've used it in the past, so might as well put some into it. If it's not already full, it's kind of like, what are you doing? So, yeah, all these clickbait headlines, right? Look at this. U.S. crude oil futures below zero for the first time in history. Honestly, I'll find places for oil. Pay me. Give me oil. All right. Look, another one. It slides. It's like, no, it didn't really. I mean, 50 pips is nothing. It's nothing. That's a standard day. This one. To be given 5 years. Okay. A lot can happen in 5 years. So, I know, right? Like I said, I mean, I mean, honestly, at this prices, I mean, basically take delivery, put it in 1,000 gallon. I mean, it's like, it's a shame it's not gasoline. Like, I can't do anything with oil. It's like, as gasoline, sure. As oil, no, I can't do much with it. Yeah. Yeah, no, can't do much. All right, so going into tomorrow, you can see we really don't have a whole lot. We have low speaking super, I guess, late tonight, early tomorrow morning, and that's really about it. We have this German economic sentiment, which should be interesting. Kind of gets us a read on the European Union tomorrow. But for the most part, I mean, everything is basically flat. Euro dollar's flat. Pound yen is flat. Dollar Swiss completely flat. Pound dollar down about 47. It's okay. I mean, it's obviously about half what the ATR would be. The Aussie dollar down 18, nothing. Euro pound up 28. I mean, pound yen down 64. Dollar CAD's the only thing, and that still didn't even hit its ATR for the day. So really nothing to kind of write home about today. Again, it's Monday, so we don't expect too much. Scanner wise, you can see dollar CAD is uptrend setup. Uptrend setup on the 4-hour. It's okay. I mean, we'll look at that chart, but I mean, I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that anything really is out of the ordinary. I mean, compared to what we had last week, right? With the overall market, I mean, we're only up to 141, right? In the CAD. CAD was at 146 weeks ago, so I don't really know what they're talking about that the CAD is sliding. Like, it did not really have that bad of a day. So, I mean, I guess that we are so anemic on news today. I don't know. Pound dollar downtrend setup across the board. That's kind of a little bit interesting. It was down 46 today, so we'll take a look at that one. We'll have to check that out. New Zealand and Aussie. Aussie is more or less flat. Only 16 pips, and again, consolidating. A lot of stuff is consolidating. Look at all the majors. Consolidating. I mean, two setups, and that's about it. One's dollar CAD and one's pound dollar. So, a little weird there. Aussie, pretty flat for the most part, right? Aussie, New Zealand, I'm sorry, the Euro Aussie, basically flat. Euro CAD, I mean, supposedly the CAD is collapsing, right? But it's consolidating sideways with Euro CAD. So it's and what is it doing, right? It's gaining strength. Confirm down against the euro. So the CAD's sliding, but it's beating the euro, okay? Versus the yen, we're going down, and versus the dollar, it's basically consolidating all across the board. 7 pips in 24 hours, so really nothing there. Looking at the CAD basket, again, CAD Swiss, sideways up. Oh, it just moved on us. CAD Swiss is right here. Sideways up, down, but we're still positive, right? Aussie CAD, we're negative in all these three, which is okay, but I mean, lower time frames is consolidating. Euro CAD being down, right? That's positive for the CAD. Pound CAD, that's positive for the CAD. And then CAD Yen, that's a downtrend setup, meaning obviously it's pulling back up today. It was pushing down and it rallied a little bit. It wasn't really too much. There was a pretty nice trade over in the overnight on that one as well. So I wouldn't say that the CAD basket is getting crushed. That deserves 3 different pieces of news that talks about how bad it's hurting the CAD, because it's not. It will hurt the Canadian economy, but at this point, I don't think it makes much of a difference if it's in the $20 range versus where it was today. This is just delivery. It's not going to make that much of a difference for CAD. Aussie basket's mixed, right? Last week, the Aussie basket and the pound basket, we basically just had straight up. They were both blue across the board, and now you're seeing some consolidation patterns versus the New Zealand, versus the yen, the Swiss, and the dollar, kind of sideways. So that's kind of dried up. We do have news in about 30 minutes on that one. You guys can see that we have monetary policy meeting notes for that in about 18 minutes. So we'll see if that is able to provide any a catalyst for instead of moving. And then the pound is literally just consolidating across the board. It is downtrend setup versus the dollar, meaning we have some dollar strength coming back in, but it's only about a 46% or only 46 pip mover. Not really anything gigantic, and I'll show you what that looked like. There were some pretty good 30-minute setups on that one today, if anybody caught those. Today was another one of those days that the lower time frames, the 30-minute and the 60-minute, were really the best two time frames to look at. There were some nice moves in the overnight as well. All right. Now, interesting enough, let's go across and look to see if this is updated. Not this one. This one. Let's see what we got here. But it hasn't updated yet here. I wanted to see if this would update. And this is this is what I find so confusing. And this is why I'm just not a futures trader, right? So oil technically is 0, but this is the old contract, right? Not the new contract. But if you can't trade the old contract, why do we have prices on the old contract? Which is kind of funky, right? But then you see the WTI, but then you have the Brent figures over here, and they're back up in this range, right? So it's just so funky. It's like, I don't know. And I'm really surprised that, if this is not tradable, if this price is not tradable, why they haven't updated it. Like, why, I get it that it expires, but why would you not update it with the tradable contract? In my eyes, it's just a way to get and draw more kind of price to it. As I said, obviously there's nothing going on today. So, yeah, look at Brent. And again, U.S. crude right here. I guess this is yesterday's, right? Talking about it's back up to 22. So it's an 8% gainer in one day. 8%, right? So it's like, give us the right thing, right? Let me see. If I go back to the main page, will it give me something different? Yeah, see, there it goes, 22. Let's see. Well, give me the chart now. Give me the chart. Give me the chart. No, it's not going to give me the chart. I don't know why. That's dumb, right? Totally stupid. But yeah, so it's so funny. I had a couple people that posted earlier, like, "Oh my God, oil's negative right now. It's 1 penny." I was like, "Yeah, but tomorrow it'll be $22." And they're like, "Wait, what?" I'm like, "Yeah, watch." So I'm really hoping it goes to 22 because I don't have to get on Facebook. Look, see, I told you $22. So it was a story for a day. Story of the day. All right, so that's it. So with that being said, let's jump across and look at the charts right now. Like I said, there's nothing on the scanner right now that really just stands out to me that says, "Hey, listen, this is great. Let's do it." But we're gonna see based off of this what we see for dollar CAD and pound dollar. Okay, so let's go across. Here's where we are CAD wise. Let's go back to Aussies. All right, so we'll start with Aussie dollar. So Aussie dollar, guys, you can see going up to like an hourly level. You can see we're sitting in an area of demand right now on the hourly. Let's actually go back up daily wise. So daily, we ended up bouncing off a supply zone. We're starting to push down. We do have a lower high that has now been put in. You guys can see it's yellow right now, but if I move it back, it'll turn red again. So it's interesting. We made an attempt back up, couldn't do it, and now we're starting to push. So the big question is, are we going to start collapsing now in this pair? And you'll see really not that impressive of a movement. We had really one pop today to the downside, and that's it. It just literally based and for the most part went sideways. I'm going to see what it does when it comes down to this level here on the 4 hour. It has been pretty deep inside of that demand zone, so I wouldn't say that that's probably the best, but it's down there, right? I mean, it exists. Will we get kind of a pop through? And there's what we can see on the hourly. So, we're in a small level right now. Again, pretty valid. I mean, it dropped, was 2 candles sideways, and then popped again. It has pierced it, so it does look like it wants to collapse. It looks like it's about 30 pips before we get to that bottom zone. This is the zone I'm curious to see what we got. Obviously, you can see the last time we crossed across the top of this level, we did have a very, very sharp bounce. So that's kind of, I would have to say I'm overall bearish this position, but nothing really, really clean at this point. Once this level bursts, I will probably be looking to see, again, if we can get something along those lines in that level, right? But I want to see it break through this zone and then, potentially take a short from here to the downside, right? Something along those lines, right? Short down. Again, there's your 1 to 3, just kind of below here. The 1 to 5 is a little bit deep. I'm going to be a little bit worried about that one, but we'll see. If we can get a breakdown, that could be a nice little, drop to the downside. You guys can see. Oh, I was like, wait, why can't you see it? It's like, because I was on the other thing. There we go. See, this one doesn't do it either. Nope. Whoop. Trying to see if I can get this out of the way in an easier position. Nope. No. Click that one. There we go. Hopefully you guys can see that. 63.37 is the bottom side of that. All right. All right. Maybe I should put, let me see here. Right there. It's right about there. It's actually right at 63 exactly. Right about there. Okay, it's where kind of the first private target is. All right, so there's your Aussie. Let's go to Aussie CAD. Aussie CAD on the daily, you can see, guys, we've pulled back up into a supply zone, and we've already started to turn and push to the downside. So there's your 4 hour. You guys can see it went off that level pretty nicely. And I think, did we hit it yet? Yeah, we're pretty close to hitting the 3-to-1 on that one. The risk on it wasn't huge. You guys can see that the risk on this was about 25 pips, not too bad. So 75 pips to the downside. You're currently up about 50 pips on that one, right? About 50 pips. And I think the 1 to 3 is fine. If you look at across to the left, it's in this range. So we're fine on that one. So that one's halfway in. Not much we can do on that one at the moment. Going to Aussie New Zealand. You can see the Aussie New Zealand came up and grabbed that zone. We talked about it hitting. It ended up, I think we missed it just by a little bit on this daily. Yeah. Missed just a little bit. We had that zone saying, hey, listen, good turning spot, and it front run us and pushed the downside. So we got our reds, we got our little green pullback right now, and you guys can see it's been much healthier on the 4-hour. Haven't had any chance to get back into this position. It hasn't come back up and retest. It's continuing to fall. There's a couple of little speed bumps in here, but for the most part, it looks like we're pretty clear to the downside. You know, like I said, little zone here, little zone here, little zone here. First major, I mean, here's a bit of a gap right here. Not huge, but a little bit of a gap. There's a little hidden zone right here. Maybe something we want to watch out for right there. Okay, I like that little pattern right there before we start running into areas of demand. So I'd say, this one I have to agree. I'd be more short biased at this point. Look, finding a good pullback. I don't have one right now. I don't know that I would. I mean, this guy up here, I obviously like a lot. I really like how far, how well that pushed off, and even this little hiccup in the middle. But we're so far away from that right now. I mean, we're talking about 90. What is that? 60. About 70 pips. Yeah, about 61 pips away. So not an ideal opportunity, unfortunately. Got a bit too far to run on that one. I think we'll continue to push lower, and it has to go through 3 minor kind of areas of supply before we can get up. But this would definitely be one I'd mark off later on in the future. It is definitely a nice push off, sitting up here approximately at. I'll mark it off. Like I said, it's a bit too far for the current trade, but this 105.50 area, I definitely think is an area that you guys need to be watching out for. There could be some good opportunities when next time price pops up in that range. Looking at Aussie Yen. Yeah, so Aussie Yen. So Aussie Yen has been really messing around in this area for a while. You guys can see. This one's got a bunch of stuff on there. I can't even make it bigger. There we go. So we had a little bit of a zone that was marked off, and it was kind of from all the way back in here, and I was trying to get some good numbers on it. We ended up bouncing off of it and really just kind of came all the way down and collapsed. Now, I don't know why that... There we go. Say that shouldn't be lit up. Big question was, would I take this? And now this is a wick over wick. This is not the actual far, the distal side of this one. So it was kind of like, would I take it? In looking at it, the answer is probably no. So we saw kind of a push in this level, and we saw that we had, basically the reaction is 1, 2, and 3. So the fact that there's a wick over wick just slightly above it, it was one of those things. It's like, it did have a nice takeoff point, but, the zone, oops. If you bring it back, you can say, okay, well, the zone really would be like here, right? If I wasn't taking the wick over wick, which, kind of coincides with, where it's at. Obviously, the overlap is what kind of wins that battle. But, it's quite a large area. It's been down here multiple times. So the fact that, and the other problem is, because here's more or less the bottom of the curve, here's the top, we're sitting right at that 50% mark. So it's kind of one of those things that's like, the fact that it's in the middle, I don't think I would take it for long. I think I'd wait for it to either collapse through, probably drop down to like a lower time frame in here, right? Something along these lines. And then look for a Harry Potter to the downside. Because again, it's been here, it bounced here, bounce here, bounce here, whatnot, just slightly lower. So I don't think it can hold that area. So for me, it would be setting up, more of a Harry Potter in this direction. And, knocking yourself short, coming out this side with the first potential profit target down here. But on this chart, you guys can see that even the third profit target doesn't look horrible, right? It's before an opposing zone. Okay, so little setup on the Aussie Yen, potentially in the overnight. We're about 41 pips before we can get to that zone. We'll see in 7 minutes if there's any type of news that drastically punches us through. But again, yeah, look for a breakthrough, look for some black space, come up, retest, and then short that guy. Last one, but not least, is the Aussie Swiss. Aussie Swiss more or less is consolidating. I wouldn't say it's really moving one way or the other at this point. You can see on the 4-hour, it's really kind of just bouncing off those 2 levels. We marked off this zone last week and said we expected this to kind of come back down again and retest down in this level here. Whoops. down to this level. It didn't quite make it before it put a base in. It went up to grab some more orders, and it looks like it's starting to push back down again. So, it's retracing, but, there you go. You guys can see kind of where it's coming back down to. We thought it would go just a little bit lower based off of this chart. Ended up going a little bit high. Like, again, there's no reason it should have turned there. But it did, and it's fine. It turned. It came all the way back up, grabbed some more orders, and now it's starting to push back down again. So I still am very excited about the space between here and here. Those are the two that I'm currently looking at. But here's the problem too. Also, be cautious with a Harry Potter here, because while this is again, nice takeoff point, again, it's a wick over wick. It's not the actual base. The actual base is sitting right there. But the problem is you also have a zone here that popped it off of, and you had a zone here that kind of popped out of. So you got a bunch you got to chunk through, so just be careful of trying to take a continuation trade to the downside, because you got to run through 3 things before you get down. Once we get to this level, things are a little bit different, again, depending on how it broke down. We'll see what type of levels I put in above, but this level between here and here, there's a little bit in the middle, but that's about it, top and bottom. It's more of a racetrack either way. Okay, so that's Aussies. All right, go across to the CAD. Now, remember, all the news says the CAD got crushed today, but it didn't really get crushed. So here was a nice little trade that you guys could have had in the overnight. Let's see. Right here was about this time last night. We were kicking this one in. Again, this is just slightly above the gap. And when I was doing the Sunday night gap last night, I looked at this and said, okay, this candle's pretty big. I get to choose to take just this top piece. But when I look to the left, the explosive movement off of this maybe moved the actual trade setup just a bit higher. And there was a trade. You guys can see it went pretty far down, came back up, didn't even get back to the zone again, and continued to push even further to the downside. But came up. I mean, really from where the gap was, from where we closed, at a low, we're talking about 68 pips, right? At a low, it's 68 pips. The daily ATR is 87. So did it get hammered? No, not really. I mean, from where it closed about 41 pips down. So almost just slightly over half of what its ATR is. So I wouldn't quite call this one getting hammered. All right. But this was a nice little setup in the overnight, if you guys were able to grab that one. One little level that I would be looking at that the indicator did not mark off is this little bit right here. Okay, I do like this because if you look up to the left, you can see all these wicks getting lower, 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 lower. It popped back up, hit those orders, and then bam, it came down pretty quickly. So this is a nice little hidden zone inside of this one. All right, you guys can see it right there. Get your 1 to 3 out of it. Nope, not text. No, don't want text. I want this. And that area, that again, find it on your charts, but it's right around 76.50. 76.50. Yeah, right around 76.50. Right now, again, we got to see what it looks like on the way up, but 76 would be your first target. If it just goes up in one green, like if it spikes, we're probably good for 2 targets to the downside on this one as well. All right, so something along those lines. All right, that would be your CAD yen, your CAD Swiss, more or less the same thing. Here was a level put up here. Again, look at the nice push away. We talked about that last week. There was your Harry Potter trade. The drop down, they came back up. It gave you another chance and then collapsed all the way through. So Harry Potter trade was in. Here's another trade setup based off of the origin of that move. Ended up coming up and just obviously collapsing quite far to the downside. So nice movement on that one. We'll clear these off to keep it fresh. Right now, we kind of have the same thing. There's a level up here. And again, kind of the same idea with this kind of pull up as the last one. It just depends which one you prefer. Whoops. Something along these lines in here. Right? And again, that's about 6. If you want to take the entire candle, you're only talking about 9 pips worth of risk in that level. And again, the 1 to 3 is in a perfect place. Right? It's technically, actually, I'd like it just right there, just a little bit higher, but that's okay. Not a bad position in that. And that starts right around this 68, 67 range. I like the push off. I like the fact that it came up to grab those orders. Again, if you wanted to be a bit more conservative, you can bring it up into here, right? You can put it at the bottom of the body. But at that point, I mean, you're only taking, what do you got here? You only got like 6 pips risk on there. You might as well just kind of move it to the higher zone. Okay. Either one of those two is fine, whether you take the whole thing for 9 or the small one at 6. Okay. Again, day of negativity for the CAD. All right. So that's CAD. Let's jump over to Swiss. Oh, the Swiss. All right. So Still kind of stuck in that same consolidation pattern. So we've had this alert here, basically looking for this thing to say, hey, listen, if price comes down to this green level, let's know when we have the break and then go long. And you guys can see it. It literally came down. And what did it do? Right? It gapped right into that zone and then poof, just took off, right? So this was an alert that we had talked about and we had set last week. And since that time, it hasn't done much. From where it opened or where it closed on Friday to where it opened, we're basically at 5 pips. It hasn't necessarily moved. One big spike down, opened up Sunday here, came all the way back, went a little higher, and then we're in the same exact spot. I mean, literally, we're slicing through the Friday candle. So I would say it will probably continue to head to the downside. I don't necessarily have an entry in this one. There's really not a lot of explosive movement, minus this opening up inside of a demand zone. Besides that, it's just literally meandering back and forth. So this was a great trade from last night. Basically from your entry is about 40 pips just to get back to where we were on Friday. So nice little grab there. That was on the Sunday Night Gaps newsletter. Okay. Dropping into the Euro pairs. By the way, I got all excited. So I was late on the getting the pip chips, the giveaway. And the reason why is they're like, oh, new merch now. And I was like, wait, there's new merch besides sweatshirts and T-shirts and mugs? I'm like, what do they got now? They didn't have anything. It was just the same thing. It was like a weird advertisement. I was like, man. I clicked on it, and nothing new came out of it. So got all excited. All right, so you're Aussie. You're Aussie on the daily. We're going to move this yellow one. I don't need it right now. As you guys can see, there's a hand-drawn zone here, and this is now bounced off of it twice. Okay, twice. Hit once, came up, hit again, and it looks like it's starting to stall a little bit in this one. On the 4-hour, you can see not only did we hand draw it here based off of the gap, but now it's actually officially put it in its own indicator, or its own demand zone in based off the indicator and how it entered and exited. Interesting thing will be is, can we get much higher, and is this enough to kind of wipe it out? So, I mean, there's been one bounce, there's been another bounce on the 4-hour, and then another hit, and it's just kind of ridden along the top. So if this is kind of as high as we can go, and I can't make it bigger because this candle is kind of screwing it up, I'll bring it back down. But as you guys can see, it keeps putting up. If it gets up into this zone, we're kind of in this little kind of intermediate hiccup here, but there's one just slightly higher. It's a wick over wick. It seems like the wick over wicks now are getting crazy. But there's a couple small zones in here heading back to the downside. I think we're probably due to go a bit lower. Let's go check what this 1-hour zone is right here. Let me see. It's all right. I wouldn't draw it here. I would have drawn it back in this range. Okay. So that's, let's see, 1, 2. Yeah, it's that one. So if we touch that zone again, that'll be number 3. So, don't know if I'd like this. I don't think I'd take the little hiccup here. I think I'd probably wait for that zone. Go a little bit higher and drop something along this line right here. Right about in there. Approximately in that range. Now your 1 to 3 is probably okay, and your 1 to 5 is fine as well on this guy. Let's see, your 1 to 3 would be right there. Something along those lines. Okay. And the risk on it is obviously not that big, but price it off on your charts. Okay. About 30 on that one. Okay. All right, so euro yen. Okay, euro yen on the daily, you can see very, very kind of whipsawly back and forth on this one. Here's your daily. We're hopefully getting back down to this bottom kind of demand zone we're looking for it. Here's the 4-hour. There's just really not much movement whatsoever on this one. Here's the hourly. You can see that it's literally bouncing back and forth between these two zones. I think we talked about this zone last week. We closed here and opened here. So we opened in the demand zone, and all we did was rally back up and head over here for about 50 pips. This is not one that I marked off, but just because the risk level on it was 24 pips and the opposing zone was only 50 pips. Now it did come up and hit it, but it's a 2-to-1. We try not to set up the 2-to-1s typically. On the 30-minute, you guys can see here, it literally opened right on top, right? Here's the zone formation, which was the correct drawing. And there you go. Actually, it didn't show it here. It was lower here. Hourly, it opened right in the middle. 30-minute, it did not. Okay, so there's a big discrepancy between the two. And again, a little bit too big of a zone. So where it's going now, again, I would go to a higher time frame on this one and get kind of a view here on the 4 hour. So you can see it's technically in a downtrend setup, right, on the daily into the 4 hour, but there's not really any type of explosive kind of push. The best one we got is right here. And I wouldn't even say that that's that great of a zone. I mean, it's been retested. Prices come up once, and now it's hitting it again and kind of bouncing off of it. It has enough room to run. So, I mean, if you had placed that trade, you know, it has enough room to run. Nope, stop snapping. Right? The 1 to 3 is fine. The 1 to 5 is a little bit deep, but you'd probably be okay for it. I mean, again, if you move your stop loss and kind of trailed it with it. So it's there, but I don't know. I just feel like this one is going to be too exposed. It's just too sideways. I mean, on the 4 hour, we're moving. It's about a 45 pip range, but I wouldn't say it's trending. I mean, the daily, it's not doing anything. I mean, we're just more or less flat here. It's doing a little tiny bit of a pullback. So, I mean, you know, it is a downtrend setup, but is it a trending downtrend setup? And I would say, you know, not super, nothing super crazy. And again, this zone has been quite well, you know, quite a big mover. All right, so you guys can see it there. The area, it actually marked that area off on the hour. All right, I would actually draw it here, just slightly higher. Okay, but yeah. Problem with this one is not that the entry is bad, it's that it just doesn't have enough profit potential before it hits an opposing zone. Okay, when you set a trade up for me, and again, if you're the type of trader that's into 1 to 2s, then you're good. But 48 pip risk, and you're talking about, again, off this little zone, you're talking about 18, 17, right? Off the actual zone on the hourly, you're talking about 25. So 25 for 50. I'd like to have a little bit more room to run in that one, and we just don't. Okay. Euro New Zealand, still 204 pips. It is almost all the way back to normal, but not quite there yet. It's got this demand zone right below, and again, it's looking like it's having a fail. It went up to grab some more orders, and it's not really pushing. It got pushed back down again, so no trade setups on Euro New Zealand right now. The spread last night on this one was 95 pips. Euro Swiss is interesting. Okay, so a bit of a gap here, right? But for the most part, I mean, we spent so much time here last week, right? Last week, then we opened this week, right? We closed here. Where is it? Right here. Right here, between these two candles. Close down here, open, and it hasn't done anything. It's in the same exact spot. So a little push up, a little push down. Neither one of them has hit a supply or demand area. Both of them are just kind of reaching. And again, sideways movement. No trend, no trade on that one. Euro dollar. Now you guys can see the euro dollar. Also consolidation, also very flat. Here's the 4 hour. You can see there's not a ton of movement in this one, right? This is what we're kind of looking like. This was a position that we had set up last week, I guess. Let's delete it so we can see it better now. There we go. Let's see, right, 17, right here. Right here is where the gap is. So not really any type of a gap. It gapped down to here. We are, what, 11 pips lower than where we were. Okay, this one is more or less boxed in. I would say if I had to draw the top and bottom on it, there's some stuff in here. There's actually a small zone right there, although that's slightly above. I guess you could use this one. No, I guess you couldn't because it went right above. I mean, here's the zone. This kind of drop sideways and drop, and it's been tested. I would probably use this and this down here. This one I wouldn't pay attention to. I don't think that, I wouldn't do too much with this. It's been bounced off of 1, 2, 3 times already. It's kind of smack in the middle of the curve. It doesn't really offer much either direction. You can see it's over here as well. Yeah, see it's marking off that top zone. So here, this and this are the two areas that I'd be focused on. This one here and this one right here. Okay, these two are probably good. We're smack in the middle, and you can see that it's having a very, very difficult time getting out of that area. Ignore the green. I wouldn't focus on the green whatsoever. I'm not concerned about that one. All right, so top and bottom, either way, we're good for a long or a short, depending on where they come at. And the top of that one is approximately there, and the bottom one starts at approximately there. Okay, just to give you kind of an idea of where the tops and bottoms on this one are. Euro pound. So Euro pound is down. Let's see what do we got here. About 25 pips. I'm sorry, it's up 25 pips in the last 24 hours. So this is what we got. You guys can see there's a little bit of a pop. Nothing exciting. Rather muted. And this is the zone. It bounced right off of this zone here. You guys can see it. I can't shrink it because of this high peak. But ATR-wise, look at the ATR on this one. Okay, the ATR is back to 63 pips. So the Euro pound is officially back to kind of pre-craziness status. It's where it should be. That's good. That's good. We still need to work some of these levels out. Neither of these two levels is bad size-wise. I mean, I guess this is still 50, and then this zone is still 50. On the daily, you're going to see a little bit bigger zones. Those will start to get a little bit smaller, right? So on this lower time frame, you can see this zone here is actually a pretty legit zone. I mean, it did come down. It wouldn't be drawn here. It would actually be drawn back here in this level of basing, and that's what it kind of bounced off of. So it's kind of a double zone there. But on the 4 hour, there's really no movement here. So it's kind of hard to say, hey, listen, let's trade this trend when there is no trend, right? There's nothing to trade there. So really at this point, we're kind of in a holding pattern waiting until we get something. Later this week, we do have the a flash manufacturing PMI day. I think that will give us enough to kind of bust out of this range. I did actually hear today, I'm not sure why, but the guy from Nadex was talking about it. He came on for like a little 10-minute, here's the analysis for the day. Check this out, because he was basically explaining oil. I don't know if that's something new they're doing. But he was like, oh, and you're going to start hearing about Brexit again and extreme volatility. And it's like, yeah, they're going to meet for this week. But, I mean, the last vote and everything that they promised, they were pretty big on we're not extending. And they're like, oh, we're going to work for an extension because we had to have a delay. And it's like, I don't know. I just feel like after everything they did with calling an election and getting the confidence vote and everything through, I mean, he basically said, I will veto any extension bill that comes through to me. I just don't feel like you're going to see too much. And the market already knows it. Boris is like, nope, not extending. We're ending this. If it's hard, oh well. And yeah, I don't know. I just don't see a ton of volatility because of the Brexit. I mean, they're gone. It's just, I think they have till the end of the year to finalize any type of relations. And I just feel like this is going to be like the Chinese-U.S. Trade war. It was kind of like, oh, there's the deadline. We're going to do all these things to you bad. And then what happened? They're like, well, maybe we will, but it'll be in 3 months from now. Like, they literally waited until the last weekend and then magically got something done. So, nah, Boris is not. Oh, is he out of the hospital? You know what? I don't know. That's a good question. Boris. I'm curious about that. Yeah, Boris Johnson COVID update. Let's see. No, it says he missed 5 key coronavirus meetings, but the UK government defends his leadership. No, the last I saw on April 7th was he was moved to intensive care. That's 1 day ago. I love this. How did Britain get its coronavirus response so wrong? It's like, I mean, you could ask that about any country in the world. Let me see. I want to see if it says he's back. Hold on real quick. In his barrage, defense. I just want his Just tell me what's his update. I love it. Nobody can say what the prime minister wasn't throwing his heart and soul in fighting. Oh God. His leadership has been clear. He's been inspirational at times. So obviously he wasn't super bad. It doesn't. Let's see. It doesn't really say. He's at the helm of the nation. Oh, it says Johnson is recovering well. He continues to recuperate at his official country retreat following treatment in intensive care. He's recovering well and is in cheerful spirits, Grove told the Sky. Yeah, so he's not in the hospital anymore. He's at his country estate. So I'm pretty sure that sounds like he made it. He's doing okay. Yeah, we have a lot of oil guys here, so I can explain what happened in oil. You know, oil's not at a penny anymore, right? Just making sure. Yeah. So basically, what it was nobody wanted to take delivery today, so they couldn't give the stuff away for free. But it doesn't mean that oil's actually there anymore. But yeah. Is James in here? I don't think Joel's in here. No, I don't think James is here. James is taking off. James is angry that oil is so low. Now, Ernest, it says he's in his country estate, so he's out of the hospital. He out. Yeah, he's out. And peroxy, I actually cover oil at the very, very end. So probably in like 20, 30 minutes, I'll be in oil. All right, Euro CAD. Here you go. CAD got destroyed today, right? No, not really. Once again, bad news. Bad news. Again, all it is doing is consolidating. Supposedly for something that got hammered, it didn't really get hammered. Look at this. On the 4 hour, it still stayed within zones that were formed last week on the 15th. It stayed well within its trading range. It actually missed entry. It should have went actually a little bit higher, and it didn't. It actually got front run and started to turn back to the downside. So not as bad as what you may think. Let's see, 17th into the 20th is right here. Okay, so here's your open and close, and right now we are about 90 pips in the EuroCAD, difference from where we closed on Friday. It has an ATR of 139, so it did what, maybe 2/3 of what its ATR is, what it should be doing in a day. So it's hard to say that it got clobbered. So yeah, and in fact, at this point, you guys can even see, at this point, it started to push down, gaining strength again. It's gained about 56 pips back in the positive direction. So hard to say. All right, so hard to say on that one. But right now for this pair, 139 is still pretty high. The spread's on there. It's okay. I mean, it's wedged. I think the best chart to look on this one would be this 4 hour chart right here. We'll zoom in a little bit. You guys can see here. I mean, this was a nice kind of turnaround. Nice little red, green, red pop to the downside. This bottom zone, I probably wouldn't take it again. But this one here, I think is probably good. We've had that zone marked off, saying, hey, listen, if we can get down to that level, be looking to look to buy this one. So we had a long set in this last week. The fact that this didn't even make it that high is pretty interesting. That it got forced down. We'll see what it's able to do here in this next 4 hour group of candles. If this can continue to push down and kind of tick down, I would say all the supposed loss today that came in, will be retraced tomorrow. Yeah, I mean, look at this. It's given us, it tried to push higher. I mean, it tried one more time on this red, made it high, and then bam, 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 and it just started pushing. It's got a confirmation to the downside with the red, green, red, and it actually broke a level of stabilization. So with this push down, you guys can see that we broke not only this level of basing here, but we broke this level of basing here. Okay, on this red push. So we've had two levels broken in this one back to the downside, and we're sitting inside of a racetrack. So to me, it looks like this one will be short and probably end up back over in this area for tomorrow morning, down at 152.91, and we'll see where we go from there. So, I mean, right now, I'd say in the overnight, I'd be short. Yeah, look at this. Didn't even make it up to some high levels. I mean, it kind of made it through some junk here, but the true sellers were sitting up here. Didn't even make it that far. So, hard to say that the CAD crashed today. Wouldn't quite say that was the case. Going into pound news. All right. So the pound, we'll start off with pound yen, not pound New Zealand. Pound yen on the daily. So as you can see, it's kind of hard to see. Everything is kind of just wedged in there, right? Not a whole lot of movement on this one either. Pound yen is down about 63 today. Again, it's hard to see on the 4 hour. We'll drop at the lower time frames, but it basically just bounced sideways. Here's the 1 hours, okay, and you guys can see it's been going between these two levels. Okay, here was the top. Here was this the trade that we talked about before. We never actually made it up to that zone. So here, I'll delete these now so we can get a little bit better of a view of things. And you can see a new level was put in, and all we did was bounce off this bottom level, came back up, grabbed it again, went back down again, and we're going through. Now this is going to break. It actually started back over here, not this level, not this level. Those are overlapping. I think actually, if I go back, yeah, you can see there's the original level back here, right? And then it kind of got breached here, and then again tested. Extend these across, you can see that's kind of where we're bouncing right there, right? So there's the bottom. I don't believe we're going to be able to hold. The big question that I have on this one is what do we have sitting in this area? So originally I was looking at this and saying, okay, do we have a short position right here, heading to the downside? 1 to 3 is good. 1 to 5 is good. It doesn't show that there's any zones in here. But looking at this kind of mess right here, this is like a little bit of a hornet's nest, right? I mean, you have reds, greens, reds, greens, reds, greens, and it's literally slicing back and forth inside of this. So if anything, let's drop down and look to see. Yeah, see, that gets a little bit harder because we have obviously a level of basing here that price took off of. There's another one down here too. We didn't quite make it that far, but there's a couple levels. I mean, there's that. You could draw that as well, and it bounced out of here, and then this came up. So this is a little hornet's nest, right? a little bit of a hornet's nest right here to be able to kind of get through again on the hourly. So that's why I was hesitant to say, hey, listen, let's just throw Harry Potter on this one. We'll take this one short all the way down because this area from here to here, there could be buyers that step in about 4 different places inside of that area. So I think to be on the safe side, I think we need to wait till we kind of break that level and head a bit lower, kind of get back clean down in this area here. That area would be down here at the 128 figure. Okay, so we're a bit high right now. That's the cleanest level that we have. I mean, obviously, if you drop it to the lower time frames, we can kind of mess around on the kind of the smaller things here. But for the most part, I would be staying with trend if I were you. You can see there was a little trade set up today. But you guys can see the 2 green lines here where we're going to probably start running into some opposition. So maybe a little bit tougher. We'll have to see what the European session tomorrow brings in. And maybe the market does think the Brexit is a big deal. But for the most part, in the past, anything Brexit related has always kind of shot this thing higher. If anything, I think this will be more of a yen play than it will be a pound play, right? Yen play is more or less based off of the U.S. stock market. So I think that's where we're going with this one. Pound dollar, we're down 56 from where we were last night. So here's the daily. I wouldn't really say that we had major movement. We're kind of retracing back to where we were on Friday, okay? As you can see here, again, we've had this kind of trigger line, these 2 areas in here that are in the yellow. I'll remove them so we can see them. They were from a higher time frame anyway. I mean, it's hit this level a few times. I mean, we do have 2 areas of demand just slightly below. We are still kind of smacked in the middle in the hourly. Here's where we are right now. And then, let's see, there's the 19th. Here's the 17th right here. Okay. This is where we opened the week right here. Right here. Okay, you guys can see it came back up on the 1 hour. And again, this is one of those trades that you guys could have taken if you wanted it. Right. Oops. Right there. Okay. Because right there's the 17th. Right there's the 19th. Okay, so price came right up. And again, opening the week in a zone, not a bad way to do things. And you guys can see the collapse worked out pretty well on that one. So where we are now, we're sitting in areas of demand. I wouldn't say it's great demand. Like I said, it's been here. It's been here, it's been here, it's been here, it's been here again. And again, there are now, I'll remove this so you can see it. You can see there's definitely sellers coming into this market. Here's the lower time frame. You can see kind of an area. Now, this area is actually not a horrible area. It's been tested pretty deep, but the way that this popped and immediately kind of turned in a few candles, it wasn't just a straight up and down. There was something going on there. There was definitely some sellers that stepped in. So that's got to be the first area we're looking for pullbacks. Want to see if this is going to break or if this is going to pop. My only concern about taking that short is it's about 50 pips and it's only about 15 pips risk. So it would qualify, right? It would qualify. Whoops. It helps when you click the zone. It would qualify for that 1 to 3, right? So it's there. I want to see how far this zone actually gets pushed through, okay? Because if this zone just continues to push down, here's my concern. Here's a level of basing. Here's a nice little red candle. If we base again and we start to form a big push down, what that's doing is it's showing me that we have a, whoops, I don't know why that button's not working today. We have a new level that could be forming right there above that zone. So, want to see, again, before I get too excited, I want to see if we can break this zone or if we get it pushed up. Because if we have a level of basing that holds here and it rallies higher, instead of getting that full 3 to 1 in, it's now cut in half. Or not cut in half, but it's cut down to about 33 pips. So it goes from a good 3 to 1 or 1 to 3 down to a 1 to 2. Okay, and like I said, I like to have profit targets that are at least a 1 to 3 away. Don't like it as much as a 1 to 2. Okay, particularly when we're setting up from good time frames. All right, so that's just a concern I have with this one. Like I said, right now, looking at a little bit higher time frame on the 1 hour and the 4 hour, you can see we're kind of smack in the middle between the two good zones, and this is a pretty good zone here as well as down here. All right, but you can see hour on the 4 hour, we're more or less just basing going sideways. Dollar CAD. So again, dollar CAD supposedly got crushed today, right? This looks like it got crushed, right? Right on the daily. There you go. That's crushed. Not really. There's your 4 hour. You can see it's really kind of more or less sideways movement. We did kind of push down again. That was CAD's strength, pushing this down, and then it popped up, and that was about 12 hours ago. Here's your 1 hour. Not really much in here, right? Not too much. I mean, there was a small zone sitting right in here. Wasn't the best zone, and ended up triggering and going higher. Also bracketed on the top side by this, and that's kind of what we're working with. Even the smaller side here, you're talking about 35 pips worth of risk and about 90 to the bottom. So It's a zone. Dollar CAD's a little bit funky one to play. ATR on this one is still... ATR is 173. The normal on this one is about 130. So we're close. We're close, but it's not quite back yet. But it'll be there. It'll be there rather soon. And then I think we can get back into this one with a little bit more regularity. Okay. Looking at pound Aussie. So pound Aussie on the daily, popping back and forth. We had an entry up there, but we're unable to get back into it. Really, we just did nothing but. I mean, it was kind of an update today, but not really much of a place to get into it, right? For the most part, let's see. Let me reset this. There we go. 21 right here is where we were last night at the same time. Okay, so we've really just done nothing but pull back to the same area. And if you look, right, if I pull back to here, you can see there was a little tiny bit of a zone that it popped and kind of went a little bit before punching through. But all it did was act as a trap. It really didn't give us anything that was super clean there. And you can see, look to the left, right? Look to the left here. And you can see it's kind of just the very, very peak of this piece. So kind of a little bit funky on this one. You know, normally this would have came down just a little bit farther, but it turned a bit early. And now it's pulled back up. So a little bit weird placement on this. Like I said, you would have had profit targets for any shorts sitting right in that area. And that's literally what it came down to. So right there. Okay. So interesting placement. Was not looking at this one today. Yeah, I really just don't know what to do with this one right now. It's one of those things that I've been kind of looking at it and just been like, In this, again, I dropped to the 30 minutes. You guys can see the only area in here that really, really stands out that looks like it could potentially put some shorts in is this. Okay. And the reason why is because price came down, it based and then launched itself out of it. But if you look back, you can see that there's also a level of basing here where it came down, it based again, based through, and then dropped. So it's obviously been an area that has shown, you know, some past kind of movement, whether up or down. But that's about the only thing that I had on it is this. Okay. Now 1 to 3, if it does nothing but go up green, it's a perfect 1 to 3. It's literally, I mean, you really couldn't draw this one much better. This is in the perfect place, and then this is the perfect 1 to 5. So it is set up nicely, and that's the best thing that I can pull from this. Here's the approximate levels. This would go here. And like I said, you guys can pull this and there. Okay. Those are the 3 levels to the downside. All right. All right. Pound New Zealand, like I said, Pound New Zealand on the daily is still 219. It's almost back. I think its average was about 170, so we're getting close. This one's had a couple different gaps. I just don't. I'm not really in the Pound New Zealand right now as much. Reason why is just because of liquidity reasons. We had a setup here. Was this on the 4 hour? Yeah, that was from last week on the 4 hour. And then where do we close? 15, 16. Yeah, this one ended up getting popped here. So again, not all perfect zones. Yeah, I don't have much. I mean, there was this little bit to the downside, but I've been skipping the Pound New Zealand. I haven't done any analysis on this one for a while. I still think this one has a liquidity problem with it right now. So there would be your top and bottom if you are looking to get in. Spread on this one is 4 right now. Actually, just dropped to 3, but this one's been bouncing between 3 and 6. So it's just, again, you're going to pay more to be able to trade this one. I just don't like too many. It's not giving us any clean setups. Look at these wicks. All these crazy wicks in here. Just junk. All junk. All right. Look at this guy. So Pound Swiss looks like it's looking over a cliff. It's going to see how far it can kind of dangle before it goes. We have gotten a red, green, red, and you guys can see it here. A red, a green, and a red down kind of confirmation. It's sitting in an area somewhat of supply rate or of demand right now. You're able to see it on the 4 hour. It's basically moved sideways, and it's laying on top of that zone. I wanted to go just a bit higher. It didn't do it, though, unfortunately. And we put a lower high, and we actually got a retrace off of that lower high. And at this point, it's looking like it does want to go to the downside. I mean, look at this kind of this bounce off of this level. I mean, it's been a pretty nice bouncing. This zone is too big. Actually, where the zone was originally formed, this second wick right here, where the cursor is, came all the way to the bottom. So I don't think that zone is going to necessarily have any power to hold it. This zone down here, that's a nicer area. I mean, it kind of based and then launched off of that area. But you're talking about a zone on the hourly that's about 16, 17 pips, which is not bad. Remember, this is not a pair that went crazy. This one has a 90 pip ATR, and you can see it's actually kind of almost lower than where the average is. The average is about 93, 94. So it's tradable as far as that goes, but this zone I would not do. You know, this zone is, for me, not an entry zone whatsoever. I don't know if you guys can see that right there. That is not an entry zone. This one right here, much better of an area in my eyes. Okay, much better of an area. Whoops. And we don't know whether or not those 1 to 3s are going to be valid yet or not. We got to see how it comes down first. It's literally at the far reaches. So this probably got like a day or 2 days. I mean, we're talking... you're talking about 80 pips. So maybe tomorrow night, we'll be able to talk about this one as far as the setup goes. But right now, not a whole lot. And I wouldn't be shorting it because while this is a junk zone, it will provide some type of a hiccup. It may take 2 bounces to kind of finally break through it. There are some sellers sitting right here. All right. So let's go down and look at New Zealand. And remember, looking at the 2, I'm only going to do, look at this one. I'm only going to do this guy, right? And this guy. And again, you guys see, look at this. 4-hour zone respected here, 4-hour zone respected right up top. Okay. Or your dailies. There's your 4-hour. There's your overlays. Right. There's your hourly zones. Okay. You can see I had a little pop through this zone. There's your dailies right there. That's what I was talking about. Yeah. Did I hit that? Yeah. It hit that little tiny wick over wick. That's pretty funny. I would not have traded this, but how funny is that? That's where the starting point was. This is a much better zone, and this is a nice zone. Actually, I think that one popped off of it, didn't it? Yeah, that was a nice pop here. That was a good pop. This was the best trade here. But I can't believe it turned off of that. Yeah, I'd wait. I mean, for me, I gotta wait top and bottom on this one. We're getting into an area. This is a pretty good zone. It's a little bit in the middle of the range. I think the one down here, I think this one is a nice little zone to take off of. It's more or less at the bottom of the curve, right? This is high. This is low on the curve. This is kind of in the middle. You're kind of at the very, very top of the bottom. I think this is a better kind of long here. There's a nice little trade setup right there too. I would probably take that zone again. The way that bounced off, I would probably take this zone also. Let me see where the 1 to 3 will pop on that one. Yeah, it's one I'm going to probably look at that zone tomorrow. This zone here, guys, is not a bad zone. The way that base drop came up and retested and then launched it off, the reaction to that zone was very nice. I like that one. I'm going to watch that one. The pound also is approaching the zone. Probably. Let's see. This one? Yeah. Yep, I'd like to go just a bit higher. Keep going. I was hoping the Aussie monetary policy meeting would push that a little bit higher. I preferred if this was a spike into it, but I ran out of steam. Right? That spike would have, if again the monetary policy notes, that would have been a great push in for a flip to the downside. Hopefully this is not the turning that brings it all the way back down. Okay. Let me do New Zealand dollar real quick. New Zealand dollar on the 30-minute. There we go. So this one is still consolidating, and there's a lot of stuff on that one. I should really just do the times on it. So let's block this one off there. This is the Harry Potter that never got triggered. Yeah, this is that Harry Potter. Remember how we talk about this? We want white space below, not one candle down and an explosion right back through again. So this was not a Harry Potter trade. Okay. All right, so that one didn't go through. So let's clean this so we can see it. Okay. This is kind of the same setup as the yen. Again, nice zone, but it's not quite at the bottom. What is our trend right now on this one? Yeah, if anything, I'd be looking more for a short on this one. Yeah, I'd be looking for a short on this one more than anything else right now. There's a wick over that. There's a wick over wick there. Okay, there's a bit of a zone right here. Right, bit of a zone right there, but it's very, very close to this. Okay, I think I'd use this instead. There. And that's about 10 pips. I wanted to make it shorter. There you go. Yeah, about 10 pips. Not a bad little zone sitting there. Again, we'll have to see what it looks like on the way up before we can really draw whether these are good areas or not. But it's not bad. Not bad. All right, let's go in the US pairs. All right, so this is coming off of a daily zone, a daily demand zone, right? Pound dollar. I'm sorry, dollar yen. Okay, so we had these two yellow lines drawn as kind of areas where we saw some issues, right? Down here, I don't remember what we're drawing them on now, but you guys, they were alert lines more than anything else. So here's what we dealt with on the hourly. Okay, so oops, not Y. There we go. So here's where we are now. Here's where we were last night. Just slightly higher. Again, it bounced just right after this time. It bounced. So you can see not tons of movement. And then here's where we were. And we opened here. So literally since Friday, we've moved 15 pips. Okay. For everything that's going on in the market, for everything that we've seen in oil, if it's only moving 15 pips, this one is basically flatlined. It has no catalyst right now. And as you can see, it's kind of flirting back and forth, even on the hourly between two different zones. So at this point, it's flat. There's no trend on the dollar yen. There's just nothing we can do. In the overnight, I don't see it moving much. You can see all these stack zones on top of each other. There may be something tomorrow morning. I mean, really until, what is it, Wednesday? Wednesday morning, we obviously have some news. Thursday will be the morning where we have unemployment claims and the flash manufacturing PMI data at 9:45. We should get some movement, but that'll be the day really to trade this one. There's just not enough catalyst right now for this to move. Now, if they come in with another stimulus package and that gets signed, then that will provide some kind of catalyst for this one to move. But right now, this one is basically just, I mean, we've just flatlined. We haven't moved much. 15 pips in what, 2 days? It's just not a lot. Now, dollar CAD, remember, dollar CAD guys got hammered today, right? I wouldn't quite say it got hammered. So here's a zone. Again, we bounced off the zone and came down and touched. So this was another successful trade that ended up going through and tagging it. Actually, it depends on what entry you got into this one. There's been a couple of them in this one. Again, this was a nice little Natix trade. Take these off so we can see it. All right, so we're back up sitting in a zone again. So again, was this a huge move? Here's where like this gap was. We're talking about 120 pips, right? About 120 pips in the last 24 hours. You're looking really to here, right about the same. Like talking about 80 pips. The ATR on this one is 138. So it's 138. Here's the gap. I mean, you're talking about not even one ATR in 2 days from Friday. Okay. So if anything, I'd expect this to retrace tomorrow. It's looking like it's sitting up in obviously a demand zone now. On the 4 hour, it needs to go a little bit higher. This is actually a pretty nice zone up top. The way that this formed with these lower highs in here is very clean. It kind of gapped a little bit up at base, and then that was kind of the push off for this extended kind of push to the downside. So this is actually not a bad zone to be able to run through. It's about 47 pips, and that's my problem with it. It is a bit big, but the formation of it is pretty nice. Now, as you can see on this, let's see, for an hourly, you can actually shrink this zone. Yes. A little bit nicer on the hourly. You can see a couple of these smaller zones here. This is what caused this turnaround, but shrink this zone to here, and you're talking about 18 pips. Okay, 18 pips is a lot nicer there for that one at the top. And you're looking at there down to approximately there. Okay, that's not a horrible position up top. And again, that is using the 4 hour level, right? Using a 4 hour level, which is nice on the 4 hour, dropping it down and refining it on the hourly. to give you just a little bit cleaner of an entry and lowering your risk by about 20 pips. Okay. There's dollar CAD, dollar Swiss. So dollar Swiss is kind of, it looks like it wants to continue to go higher. We have a nice green, we have a nice red pullback, and now we have our really kind of second day worth of green, and it looks pretty legit, right? The 4-hour gives a little bit different of a picture. It looks like we're kind of flattening. We do have a level of basing here that has turned price away before. We're kind of butting up to that. So before we do anything going long, you got to be very cautious. Going long into an area of sellers is always a no-no. We had these two areas marked off top and bottom that were really better entries, a short up top and a long below, and we're just kind of stuck. I was hoping that this is what would rally us down to get us that entry, but it just didn't. It didn't really do much, right? There's your hourly. Does it look like this is a trend? Not so much. I mean, we're bouncing back and forth between about a 40 pip range. This bottom side's been hit 1, 2, 3. I mean, you can arguably 4. I don't know how much longer that one will hold. And again, there's this level of basing here that you could actually shrink to. It's actually more or less there. Okay. So there's a little bit of an entry, but you can see it actually goes back to the basing level here, and we're starting to approach it. So no real trend in this one. This one is considered sideways. And, here's where we ended Friday here, and then right here. So this was really a no gap. And, we have a difference of about 20 pips in a day and a half since Friday. Okay. So not much movement here as well, unfortunately, in the dollar. The dollar's really been hurting for catalysts. So oil. Let's cover oil. All right. So here's the ECN data on oil. Okay. Interestingly enough, again, the ECN data, I think it's based off the forward contract. It always is a little bit different. Like it's been off and then it gets pretty close. So it's not up in the $22 range. I think it's taking an aggregate of the two, but you're seeing you've actually, over the last couple hours, you've gotten some strength into it. It's probably as the May one is coming out. I'm not sure where it pulls from. So if I pulled it across and used, unfortunately, the data over on the other side is still not good. I was hoping I could get, like it knows that crude oil is $21.92, but it's not going to give it to me on a chart. It's like, come on, just give it to me. So data is not, exactly correct. I was hoping I would get it over here. Let me see. One sec. Let me try one other platform real quick. Let's close that down real quick. I just shut the scanner down. Where is it? I'm gonna look at one other platform real quick. See what pricing they're using for this other one. Let's see. Give me commodities, oil. Yeah, they're showing a $12 figure. Yeah. Yeah, they're showing me $12.20, and then this one is showing me $15.79. Right now, I'm looking at Daily FX is showing me that we're sitting here, right? 21.97, which is kind of what the forward contract was looking at. So, unfortunately, this one's going to be a little bit harder to do analysis on. I don't have a client that's going to give me the updated one, right? Because this is what we have right now is yesterday's, right? I can click over here and it's like, wait, this doesn't match this. Anyway, this data is correct. This is where it was trading at today. It was about 22. I expect that it will probably, again, it will look like it has a big up day. Like people are like, whoa, look, it's up 8%. It's huge. I expect that it will have an up. It'll probably start up. And then when all retail traders are like, oh my God, oil was bad. I just saw 9 different things that says oil's going to zero. I need to start selling this. Or I need to get in there for speculation. But any of the actual oil traders out there know that the price is actually not actually there anymore because that contract is expiring tomorrow. So a little bit different of a situation. Man, I was really hoping that one of the platforms is going to update. That one doesn't do it. I don't know. Do I have any other ones? Let me see. Do they have an oil one here? I'm trying to pull out all the platforms that I have that has oil in there. Nope. That one's not going to pull. Try one other place. So hard to find, like, no, I don't want the May contract. I want, nope, not that one. Let's see. Not the Dow. I want just regular CL. Let's see. Nope, that's not it either. Man, it's not going to give me a chart. Yeah, it looks like I'm not going to be able to get a chart for this one. That stinks. Let's see. Wait, hold on. Oh, wait. Oh, no, it's still giving me the old contract. God, this is driving me nuts that it won't update to the new contract. Yeah, 2176. Yeah, I mean, James, that coincides with what you see over here, the 2199. They're probably pretty similar between the two, but I can't get a chart for it. That's the problem, is it's not giving me a chart anywhere, even on a continuous contract. I don't feel like I haven't loaded toss in forever. I don't know. I don't even remember my password on it. Yeah, so that, unfortunately, it knows that this is what it is, but it's not going to give me a chart for it. And like I said, over here we have the 1583. Again, I think this is an aggregate between the two. I don't see it jumping up. I have 1583 on one ECN, and I have 1230 on the other one. Doesn't, let me see. Let's see. Will TradingView give it to me? I hate TradingView too, by the way. Hold on, let me check that real quick. Crude oil. Oh, 99%. I'm like, what? Let's see. Full featured chart. Don't need to find. Let's see. Template. Area. Candles. Yeah, but here, look. There's the TradingView one. It's coming through FXCM. There's your TradingView one. Unless, can I pull? Yeah, see, it's still showing up here. Man, that is annoying. It's like, see, it's basically saying there's a gap from $4 all the way up to 21. Toss has May at 170. I mean, Q, it's showing price up, but everyone's going to be like, wait a second, look, it gapped from $1 to $22. It's like, not really. Not really, right? See, look, it's showing at 2170 right now. 2169 is where it's showing it. So it's not giving us like a clear symbol. Will that work here? Let me see. How the heck do I go back now? God, I hate TradingView. No, not that one. TradingView. What are we doing? CLK 20. Oops. Let's see, full feature chart. Yeah, but see, it's the same thing. Oh, that's the May. I don't want K. ABCD. Wait, no, it should be K, right? F is the old one, right? M. Thank you. That would be Q. CL. K is May. I thought F was May. I don't know. This is why I hate futures. Can't come up with just one contract. What did I do? CL M 2020. There we go. Nope. No thanks. Do not want. All right. So that's probably going to be the most accurate. And this is on, let's see, time frame, daily. Let's drop this down to hourly. Yeah, so that's probably going to be what we have for the most accurate right now. Hit auto bottom right. It will auto scale. I don't care about the auto scale. I actually kind of don't mind doing it that way. So looking at it over here, although it's rallying back again, I'm not necessarily surprised because people will see that big jump and be like, "Ooh, got to get in." But looking at some of the things over in here, I mean, it's still, you got areas of, let's see. I forget how to use this one, rectangle. I mean, you're going to see an area right here, right? Whoops. Okay. That's an area where you're potentially going to see shorts. A little bit of a gap up top. And again, the farther back we go, the more funky it's going to get. Because again, it's not going to have the trading volume in. Yeah, that would be the near-term thing that I'm looking at right there. It would be that one. A little bit of a basing level here, but this one I don't like as much. It spent way too much time there. But this little pop, and I guess actually I could probably, this pop is probably drawn off of that level. Right there first. But that entire region right in there at 2277, for me, looks like it would be an area where we're shorting. Now again, this is at 21. We're seeing 22. We're seeing 2188 now, so this one's catching up. But this is showing 2188. This is showing, oh, that's the M. That's M. This is showing 2173. So yeah, it's probably close around in that area. So 2277-ish area is probably going to be a short. That's what I'm looking for. I'm looking at this one. This is June. Right here, look, it says June. I don't know, can you see that? Oh God, why is it blowing everything up? Why is it changing my other charts? Yeah, see? June. I don't know. This is why it's like, they're all different. I dislike them. Way too difficult. But either way, guys, if this is what we're trading with tomorrow, then I'd be looking for shorts as, you know, a little bit more of a rally, look for a short and look for a push back to the downside. This is showing us that $20 figure again. $20 is right here. So, yep. Looking forward to Wednesday morning. Let's see what the figures look like on Wednesday morning. Like I said, everybody's going to be totally confused tomorrow when they see oil one day is $1 and then the next day they see $22. So, look forward to move around a bit. All right, so let's shrink that out of the way. Let's go across and look at gold. So, gold, supposedly gold's supposed to go to, 8,000. That's what some people are saying out there. Didn't quite get up to where our entry was. We were looking to get entered into this position. Actually, there was a couple. We were looking for a Harry Potter in here, and it spiked through and came back up, and then spiked again. Now, it did actually give an entry in. Unfortunately, it didn't give us the entry that we were looking for. Because, again, it hit here, it hit here, it hit here. We were looking for a break. It spiked through too fast. It spiked through too fast, unfortunately. It did not give us, even this, probably not what we were looking for. So the analysis was right. We were just unable to get an entry into it for a short in this position. Gold back down here as well. So kind of a want on that one. We had the right analysis, just wrong entry. All right, so we did get short. This would have been a short, nice little short position. So looking at it now, okay, there's an area in here that I want to mark off. This area is sitting right in this zone right here. It did base, right? It did pull back. It is partially formed off of this, but I like the test of this one. I like the fact that it launched its way through, fought its way back up, hit it again, and then bam, slammed back down again and hasn't been able to touch it. This zone down here, I don't know if I would have traded that one or not. I mean, the first touch probably, but after that, no. Like this entry here, like, no, I would not have taken this again. This would have been the third attempt in, and both of these times were kind of like a little bit iffy. So, but for me, looking at this one, I mean, this one, I would have to say I'm bearish on this position. The way that this is looking, again, there's some buyers in here, but this has been unable in any of its attempt to come back up to really make a lot of headway. And again, push down, lower high, right? Came back up the same area, pushed down again. And every time it gets pushed down, it's starting to eat these zones up a little bit more. Down here on the 15 minute, kind of the same idea, kind of zooms in. A lot of these are wicks and they're reaching. This is a double here. This one went a bit farther. This is a touch back down to this level. So I think what I would say is I think down in this level here is the next time that some true buyers really step in, this 1675 area. We're at 1687 now. So, this could be kind of an overnight move for us. I don't really think there's much going to stop it in the overnight. I don't think it's going to suddenly start taking off. But even look at the larger time frames. I mean, look at this. We've bounced off this high and have come down again. And again, it not a bad push, but there was nothing really to stop it. And it's already starting to push back down again. So there is that level sitting right above on the hourly, right, that we're running into. So I got to say, I'm still bearish gold. I just, Gold seems like it gets that really, really big hit. Like if we get a stimulus package, gold will pop again. But if it doesn't do that, there's nothing to show. Again, gold is for inflation. If the market sucks and there's no demand, there is no inflation, right? So yeah, I'm still, for me, I'm still bearish gold. I just, there's nothing, again, there's nothing in here except a stimulus package. I can say, hey, yep, gold's going up. All right. Silver, okay, poor silver, right? The redheaded stepchild. Okay, you guys can see this one has also put a healthy reversal in from the area that we talked about, right? From that wick over wick. It hit it, came back down, red, green failed as well, and now we have this other picture. Now, it came off of the zone that we talked about. It hasn't really had an impressive move to the downside. This one is much more numb. Like gold is at least trending up and trending down in lower time frames. This one is just kind of getting boring. Like it's kind of flat, right? The hourly, we've seen a bit more movement, and it's kind of been choppy. I mean, it didn't really hit a great zone at the bottom. I mean, there's some junk over here, nothing too crazy. There was this one entry here last week, but that's it. We're kind of just squished, right? Here's the 30-minute, and you can see as soon as we jump from the hour to the 30-minute, you get this zone. You get a lot more color on the screen, right? Showing that there's a lot more areas where things are popping off of. This is actually not a horrible zone. Go back so you guys can get a real clean look at that. Look at that. Nice pull up, right? And there's actually, it's funny, there's a wick over wick there too. Look at the wick over wick right here. Right, for that short. But this zone, as far as the way it was formed, let me put it back one more candle so you can kind of see the candles. This is a nice little, that's a nice formation and a nice reaction, a nice burst off of it. I don't know if that would have made your 3-to-1 or not today. I didn't trade silver today. Yeah, you would have ended up hitting your 3-to-1 off that one. So nice little zone. It would have literally taken you to the very, very brink of a stop loss up at 14.43. That was about what, 8 cents worth of risk, but not a horrible trade. We're still sideways, but that was the best pop that we've seen. There's no other large extended range candles in this range that had that same kind of clean move. So, wait till something kind of pops in there for that one right now. There's just nothing. I don't really see much else in there right now for that one. So for me, I think silver will probably turn and continue to flip down, follow gold. So NQ. It's turning, right? This has been the most reactive of the three indices. You guys can see on the 4-hour. Wasn't really a huge move. From that, we've basically retraced where that gap was last week on Thursday. And it just kind of more or less went sideways. So here's the hourly. You guys can see there is an area of demand that's coming in there. It was a nice demand area as well. I mean, we popped away, came back down, and then that was the launch point. Haven't been able to touch it yet. So this will be really the first attempt into that zone. You can see on the 30, it's not as clean. On the hourly, it's clean as day. But on the 30-minute, you can see it gets a little bit more, mixed up over here. This entry right here, somebody sent me an email earlier today and was like, oh, could you have gotten short here? And I'm like, maybe. If you would time this correctly. We're talking, right? This is about 1 o'clock. Typically 1 o'clock, the markets start to kind of dry up a bit, and it becomes a little bit more risky of a move. Now, this one hit basically 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and that's where most of the movement was. So you'll see over here from about 9:30 till about 12, the reversal in this one came in a bit late. It got to that zone at about 10 and then spent literally 2 hours there, 3 hours there. So typically the reversal is a little bit cleaner than this, and if you look to the left, there wasn't really a great zone to get short this one. In the overnight, it looks like this one will continue to push to the downside, and the question is, will it react to this zone, or will push lower to this bottom one down here at, where is it? Sitting down here at 85.29. It appears that it wants to come down. That's what it looks like to me. 4-hour looks short. 30-minute looks like it wants to come down as well. 15. Let's see, what do we got on the 15 back here? Yeah, there's nothing really strong over here as well. So yeah, to me it looks like by morning tomorrow, it looks like it wants to continue to push to the downside. We'll see if we can find any buyers in this mess, but I think this one's going to come down. Looking at the Dow, you guys can see the Dow came off a zone pretty easy. Nice little 4-hour zone that I talked about. This was also inside of the, we did this analysis last week, and it just continued to push down. It was basically just 12 hours of down. From that zone at this point, you're down quite a bit now. Down quite a bit. Let's see, on hourly, looks like we're running a little bit of a hiccup here, right? We're getting into some buyers. The zone that it's going through right now, I wouldn't have marked off. This bottom zone, I think, is a little bit better, although I would probably have marked the zone off here. Okay, that's where the wicks are really starting to go up again. So big question is when the Dow ends up hitting 23,260, are we going to take a bounce off of it? If we can break that zone, probably not as worried about this zone here. Yeah, probably the next stop on the way down is going to be, well, this teal line is already marked off, but probably this level right around here, 22,497. Trump's spending, hey, not surprised, but that's not going to affect the economy. What's up with the huge move right now in NQ? Probably, yeah, that could be a Trump thing. Yeah, they could suspend it. Yeah. Did he just say it? It's negative, but, whatever. Yeah, I mean, when you're not letting people in, it's like, what other borders are going to close down? Yeah. Yeah. He said it just now. Let me see. Trump immigration. Trump says he will sign executive order temporary suspending immigration in the United States 15 minutes ago. It's just temporary. Does it say for how long? Let me see. How long? No. I mean, I don't know. I think this is just to piss the Democrats off. Yeah. The decision to spend all immigration is also sure to draw fury from Democrats and immigrant rights groups, whom would argue the president has been continuing to push the controversial. Yeah, he's just doing this to piss Democrats off. We already have plenty of COVID-19 here. Bringing other people here is not going to make any difference in it right now. It's already here. So, like, closing it down won't do much. So he's just doing this to piss the Democrats off. That's all he's doing. Yeah, he's just trying to piss the Democrats off. But yeah, so again, even more reason, guys. Most likely will come down to 85, 12, 29, and we'll see what it's like going into the markets tomorrow. He found his loophole. Yeah, I know, right? Well, you saw the thing about Mexico shutting the border down and building the wall, right? That was my favorite meme, I think, of all time. He's like, you did it. You found a way. Here's our move from last week. All right. Basically the same analysis on this one. On a daily basis. This one didn't even make as high. NQ was able to come up into this range right here, right? Oops. NQ was able to come up in here. This was unable to do it. This one failed ahead of time. So the S&P is a little bit weaker. The S&P and the Dow are the weaker of the two. On the 4-hour, you can see it did the same thing. It kind of gapped up. Here's the bottom of its gap. This one was a little bit harder to time, and it's just retracing back down again. This is a long, extended parabolic retracement, right? Huge pop up, and it's just retracing its way back to the downside. So not really an entry in it today. Same idea. I wouldn't worry about this zone, I think, for this case. Just like the other pairs, I think, be looking at this one to come down to the 27.42 range. And then look for some bounces up. I think people are looking for some type of more stimulus. People got checks, but, not everybody got checks. They're getting, well, I guess they got direct deposits. They haven't got checks. But, yeah, I think this one will come down in the overnight as well. Again, the indices, I'm hesitant to kind of give you guys any like straight up trades because a lot can happen in the middle of the night. And those have really been best to kind of trade during the middle of the day. Or the morning, anyway. The morning. Yeah, that would not taken that zone there. Curious why that was there. But it is interesting. We are at this level now. Whoops. We are at this level right now. See if that's able to kind of hold itself. So, yeah. I don't know. I think the story of the morning will be people's reaction to oil and any other kind of talks of stimulus or anything else. Who knows? I don't know. Maybe the Democrats will impeach tomorrow because, Trump is being, I don't know, something. Yeah, he's just messing with the Democrats. Yeah, it's all he's doing it for. Because, look at New York City, right? We have New York City data. We have everything else. It's here. You're not blocking it. It's not like you're preventing anything by halting immigration at this point. It's easy to defend. You can say we don't want more citizens here if COVID-19 gets worse because then we don't have the supplies because we don't want to take care of more people than we need to. Sure, you could say that. It's about, you can't say no, that's not true, right? Because, yeah, bringing more people here would put more of a tax on the medical system, right? But if that's the case, what are you not telling us? Because you're all talking about, everybody's talking about reopening, right? Nobody's talking about holding this till July anymore. Everybody's talking about reopening the economy. So, yeah. Yeah, it's just to piss the Democrats off. More meat for his base. Yeah, he's just trying to piss the Democrats off. That's all he's trying to do. Yeah. I mean, and the excuses that he's saying are just to piss people off. Yeah. But he's like, no, we don't want to tax the medical system. You know, we want to flatten the curve, not put more people here to make the curve bigger. And you can't argue with it because it is true. If you add more people, yes, the curve can get bigger and it can tax the system, sure. But yeah, he's just doing it to piss the Democrats off. It's been a week. He needs something to piss them off with, right? So, yeah, I mean, we have it here. Yeah, I mean, it's here. So, all right, guys. So that's the last one. Look at this thing bouncing off that 30-minute level, right? That was that gap that we had last week and that launch point. And look at it. Look at it bouncing. Interesting. This one will come through. I don't have any doubt that one will come through. And again, they're all bouncing a little bit. Now, is this just a hiccup or what? We'll see. Oh, he is. He absolutely is a master of mind games. Yeah, I'm telling you. Hillary was the master of making people disappear. Trump is the master of you can go from 0 to angry in 5 seconds. He can piss anybody off, right? It's just amazing. So, all right, guys. So with that said, let's go ahead and I'm going to drag this across. Bunch of people in chat tonight. A lot of you guys are missing your tickets in. Go ahead and do exclamation point ticket. Get your tickets in the system. These are for pip chips. This is valid for channel money, basically. It's not real money. It's just channel money. And you guys can purchase mentoring sessions, indicators, that kind of stuff. And if you're new to the channel, go ahead and give us a follow. We are typically on Monday night through Thursday night from 9 to about 10:30. I used to be an hour, and now magically we're up to like an hour and a half, sometimes even more than that. If you guys are around tomorrow, I will be broadcasting tomorrow at noon. I have a broadcast for the Nadex Exchange, and I always also stream it out to these channels. So if you give it a follow, you get a notification tomorrow that we will have. Again, it's going to be like an intraday analysis tomorrow on Nadex-based pairs. But it seems to go over pretty well. People like it a lot. And that'll be at noon tomorrow Eastern. Okay? So I'll give you guys about another 30 seconds. I know there's a delay. I will shut it down at 1:33. I know some of my members like to kind of snipe it at the last minute. There's some secret sauce being that last one in with a ticket. You've developed. I know, right? I get tired. I'm trying to up my game, man. There's these guys that are older than me that are streaming for 8 hours at a shot. Now they're playing video games. They're not talking the whole time, but yeah. All right. Shut it down, and here we go. Let's see who the winner of tonight's drawing is. Just kidding. I mean, I clicked it once. It's lagged. Wealth Builder. Who won last week? Who won the last one? It wasn't Wealth Builder, was it? Well, mark this is complete. Who won the last one? That's today. Did James win the last one? Looks like James won the last one. Yep, it was James. So Wealth Builder doesn't get it. I was almost like, wait, did Wealth Builder build two in a wait, did he get 2 in a row? Did he get 2 in a row? There we go. Man, I thought that was the first 2. It's weird. Since I put out that, we used to get like doubles like once a month probably. Since I put that rule out where if you win 2 in a row, instead of getting 25, you get 100, nobody's won. It's kind of funny how that worked out. That's why I went for 2. Yeah. All right, now it makes sense, James. Not this time. She'll win tomorrow, don't worry. She'll win one this week. Maybe that's what the contest will be this week. Will she win in the next 3 chart? Will she win this week or will she won't? That's what you got to do. Get in there at the last minute. Look at that. That's what you got to do. That's so funny. All right, guys. With that being said, I'm going to save the rest of my voice. Don't forget, log on tomorrow. I will put the I don't know if I'll have time to put the links up on Discord, but definitely at 12 noon, I'll be doing. It'll be on YouTube, Twitch, and then obviously Nadex broadcast. All right. If you can log in the Nadex broadcast and mute it, that helps. They like to see the numbers in there. If not, watch the replay. All right. You guys take care, and I will catch you guys tomorrow.